literary dictation at 160 words per minute. On the record. The economist J.K. Galbraith once wrote, "Faced with a choice between changing one's mind and proving there is no need to do so, almost everyone gets busy with the proof." Leo Tolstoy was even bolder. The most difficult subjects can be explained to the most slow-witted man if he has not formed any idea of them already, but the simplest thing cannot be made clear to the most intelligent man if he is firmly persuaded that he knows already, without a shadow of doubt, what is laid before him. What's going on here? Why don't facts change our minds? And why would someone continue to believe a false or inaccurate idea anyway? How do such behaviors serve us? Humans need a reasonably accurate view of the world in order to survive. If your model of reality is wildly different from the actual world, then you struggle to take effective actions each day.
Okay, here we go on the record.
Everything was impossible until somebody did it, right? Every invention, every new thing in the world, people thought were crazy at first. Roger Bannister in the 4-minute mile, it was a physical impossibility to break the 4-minute mile in a foot race until Roger Bannister stood up and did it. And then what happened? 2 months later, 16 people broke the 4-minute mile. The things that we have in our head that we think are impossible are often just milestones, waiting to be accomplished if we can push those limits a bit. And I think this starts with probably your physical body and fitness more than anything, because we can control that. If you don't think you can run a mile, you show yourself you can run a mile or two, or a marathon, or lose 5 pounds, or whatever it is. You realize that confidence compounds and can be transferred into the rest of your world. And I've actually gotten into the habit of this a little bit with my friends. We have this little group. We go on physical adventures, and recently I found myself in a kind of precarious spot. I'm terrified of deep, dark blue water. I don't know if anyone's ever had that same fear ever since they watched Jaws 1, 2, 3, and 4 like 6 times when I was a kid. But anything above here, if it's murky, I can already feel it right now. I swear there's something in there. Even if it's Lake Tahoe, it's fresh water, totally unfounded fear, ridiculous, but it's there. Anyway, 3 years ago, I find myself on this tugboat right down here in the San Francisco Bay. It's a rainy, stormy, windy day, and people are getting sick on the boat. And I'm sitting there wearing a wetsuit, and I'm looking out the window in pure terror and thinking I'm about to swim to my death. I'm going to try to swim across the Golden Gate. And my guess is some people in this room might have done that before. I'm sitting there, and my buddy Jonathan, who had talked me into it, he comes up to me, and he could see the state I was in. And he says, "Scott, hey man, what's the worst that could happen? You're wearing a wetsuit, you're not going to sink, and if you can't make it, just hop on one of the 20 kayaks. Plus, if there's a shark attack, why are they going to pick you over the 80 people in the water? So thanks, that helps." He's like, "But really, just have fun with this. Good luck." And he dives in, swims off. Okay. 8:51, turns out the pep talk totally worked. And I felt this total feeling of calm, and I think it was because Jonathan was 13 years old. And of the 80 people swimming that day, 65 of them were between the ages of 9 and 13. Think how you would have approached your world differently if at 9 years old you found out you could swim a mile and a half in 56-degree water from Alcatraz to San Francisco. What would you have said yes to? What would you have not given up on? What would you have tried? As I'm finishing this swim, I get to Aquatic Park and I'm getting out of the water. And of course, half the kids are already finished. So they're cheering me on and they're all excited. and I got total popsicle head if anyone's ever swam in the bay. And I'm trying to just thaw my face out, and I'm watching people finish. And I see this one kid, something didn't look right, and he's just flailing like this, and he's barely able to sip some air before he slams his head back down. And I notice other parents were watching too, and I swear they were thinking the same thing I was. This is why you don't let 9-year-olds swim from Alcatraz. This was not fatigue. All of a sudden, two parents run up and grab him, and they put him on their shoulders, and they're dragging him like this, totally limp. And then all of a sudden, they walk a few more feet and they plop him down in his wheelchair. And he puts his fists up in the most insane show of victory I've ever seen. I can still feel the warmth and the energy on this guy when he made this accomplishment. I had seen him earlier that day in his wheelchair. I just had no idea he was going to swim. I mean, where is he going to be in 20 years? How many people told him he couldn't do that he would die if he tried that?